like 8 or so years ago now, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and it made me really, really sick for about 4 years of my life. For 9 months, I was completely housebound, basically barely leaving my room because I felt so out of it and wasn't really able to function well. Then slowly got more healthy until I eventually was able to move on and have a regular life. But since then, I've noticed a lot of things that have shifted for me with this car driving by, and I'm kind of feeling awkward right now. A lot of things that have shifted for me, mainly being that I had a lot of spiritual experiences and walking into things with mindfulness and meditation previous to getting sick for about 2 years. I had a lot of what we would call a spiritual honeymoon. Read the Power of Now book and had this like explosive change in awareness and self-perception, and just this intense feeling of joy and interconnectedness with everything as I was walking around and connecting with people and the world and things around me, having these experiences of like oneness with the environment kind of merging together. Kind of weird to talk about, but check out the book by The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and you kind of get more of a feel kind of what I'm talking about. And if you get the experiential experience, it's only going to make sense through experience. So if you've had it, you'll get it. If not, it's going to just sound out there. But I want to make a quick video to talk about happiness and how our culture always mentions, we want to be happy, and we're seeking things to be happy in materialistic ways, and then also wanting to feel good and feel happy inside ourselves, within ourselves. And although, yes, that's true, and happiness is more important from within, because anything outside, whether it's achievement, accomplishment, materialistic good, it's just a fleeting feeling of joy, and like you've attained something, and then it goes away because no feelings are permanent and they kind of just come and go. So I think a lot of people put too much emphasis on happiness, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it's important to be happy, especially when you're trying to find things you love doing in life, things that make you happy. But what people don't talk about also, and it's a thing more deeply in spiritual circles, but not even beyond spirituality, is a lot of times you're not going to be happy. Things aren't going to go your way. You can manifest joy as much as you try, but you're just not going to be feeling it. And I think what can go above happiness is actually truth. Truth of the situation here and now, and finding that sense of peace and equilibrium no matter your current experience. Because if you're really depressed, or you're having a massive amount of anxiety or just life stressors, you're not going to always feel joyful about all that stuff. But what is more important is a sense of a car driving by with one light on, and it's I'm just going to stop for a second because it's going to be really loud. What's more important than just being solely happy is having a sense of peace in feeling connected and grounded, and within yourself you're very strong, centered. It's important to have this sense of being and presence, so that no matter what's going on around you or anything in life, that you're always deeply connected into this, and that you're going beyond the surface level. And when I say the surface level, as I turn around, because I'm kind of paranoid about coyotes and mountain lions sneaking up on my back, it means that you can have thoughts and feelings, and people chase after these things materialistically, and have these mindsets about what they want to go out and achieve and set goals, and chasing happiness and love and validation and attention and all these other things, and predominantly get that from other people or material goods or just projected goals that we have out in the future. There's a deeper reality that you can touch into. My arm's getting sore. Beyond just this stuff up here. People say, oh, if you want to be happy, think of happy thoughts. If you want to be sad, think of a sad thought. And if you want to be mad, think of an angry thought. And it's funny because a lot of people live their entire lives through this mind-made virtual reality, and they're just trying to change their reality from negative to positive and trying to artificially create more happiness. But you're living this in a false narrative because you're in a sense of reality that's centered in your mind, where you're only living through that filter. It's only so deep that you go with that. So I had to switch to going back to my house because it's too noisy and my car didn't have proper lighting. But the reason I mentioned all of this is because the mindset and the virtual reality that we live through our minds, this place where we have self-image, our wants and desires, our virtual living, experiential life, that kind of plays like a movie reel. It isn't the truth of who and what we are. And as long as we stay there, we're going to live in the limitations that that produces. So to go beyond it, with that in mind, it's not an ideal place to be because it's of no benefit or value to you. So when I'm speaking of these things, I'm trying to move through that to find in others that you can investigate for yourself that place of being and presence, awareness that is within you, that is beyond all these things, that you can connect with to find a deeper sense of gratitude, appreciation, well-being that is no longer dependent on anything around you. And that connectedness and centered within this space will bring you into the world, everything that it contains, and yourself. And that is where you would say true happiness lies, because it doesn't make any sense. It's beyond the mind, it's beyond thought-based limitations, it's beyond all of the limitations and boundaries that is of the mind. It doesn't make sense to the mind to talk about it, so the only thing you can do is practice and get in touch with different practices, methods, and tools to deepen a sense of awareness, to connect with a sense of awareness, to connect with yourself. And the reason I mention all of this is because this happiness seeking, there's nothing wrong with happiness. People should be happy. It's good to be happy. It feels good. But beyond feeling good, there is something more important, which is connecting with reality. Because it's like this hidden jewel that everybody has access to, but when you just don't know where it is in this dark room, you have it, you own the greatest treasure that you could ever have. You're not even aware that it's there because you're not in connection with it. So connecting with it and then seeing what the revelation of it is when this contact happens, and then what transpires after, how it can completely transform your life. And the happiness stuff, like I mentioned with the Lyme disease stuff before, I had many years with Lyme disease, and then the anxiety stuff and other things that had happened in my life where I was just miserable. And I wasn't gonna make myself just feel better because I just couldn't get out of the situation. So the only thing I did, and even in the hardest of times, was taking everything as a practice of deepening awareness, using my experiences of suffering to deepen myself, to create an investigation of what's absolutely true when everything else is falling apart, because the only thing that could be more important in hard times is just knowing the truth of what's really going on here and what's really true.